Thank you. Good question. No, actually, right now we are very happy because we just beat Germany at the semi-final of European Cup. I mean, nothing could be better than this for us. Having said that, yes, in general, Italians are very angry at the Germans. Okay? Why is that? Because the Germans got an enormous benefit from the euro. Because they basically they found themselves with a very weak currency, with very low interest rate, and with no other country in the euro area able to devalue against the Deutsche Mark as it used to be. So they have an incredible advantage. And Germany today has its current account is 8% on GDP. It's 4 times higher than China. Okay? In the old times, when I was a kid, Italy had a problem with Germany, no problem. We devalued 20%, everything was 20% cheaper, that was it. You know, now we can no more. So the Germans have this incredible advantage, and their economy is booming. We cannot devalue, okay, and so we are very mad at this lack of solidarity. What is this whole Europe? Okay? But by the end of the day, as it always happened to them, they will lose. And I tell you why. 2 reasons. First, if the euro area breaks up, the German financial system is going to blow up in a second. All the banks are going to be broke. Second, 50% of German exports are in the euro area. So they're finished. They are, by definition, an export-oriented country, much more than China. And we are their clients. So they basically, they are my creditor, and we are their clients. They're finished. So, actually, they lost the day before yesterday, and the day after they lost in Brussels. They had to give up. That's the way they are. They hard, and then in the end they collapse. There's nothing I can do. They're great. It's the greatest country. Germany is a great country. But he's a poor leader. It's like you can have a great football player who's a terrible coach. This is their case.
那我想非常好，你的比喻非常的贴切，非常的生动啊，非常的生动。那我想再问一下，那么意大利这些国家对中国有什么期望呢？你作为一个投资顾问也帮着中国投资者去意大利投资，那么意大利的国民、意大利的政府、意大利投资者对中国是什么期望？
This is a very good point. The story is Europe is, by definition, China's investment destination. Okay? And I tell you why. First, because it is the only continent that has stuff that has high-tech manufacturing willing to sell. You cannot buy in the US, you cannot buy in Japan, but you can buy in Europe. All Chinese companies that bought companies in Europe have done extremely well. They have behaved as great corporate citizens. Europeans were afraid the Chinese would come in and disband the factories and take production back to China. It ain't happened. Chinese who have bought in Europe have invested in what they bought, they created employment, and they started supplying locally. Okay? I have a great case of a very large company, they are shareholders, and they discovered the supplier of very special light material in Italy. Okay? And now they decided they want to use this material for the products they make in China. So they talked to the suppliers in Italy of this material. They were very happy. So the suppliers came to China and said, we are very willing to do the transfer of technology and help you make the factory in China, you know? You know what the Chinese CEO said? No, 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 no. I want the factory in Italy because if you make it in China, in 3 months I'm going to lose all my advantage in technology terms. He said, if I do the stuff in China, they're going to steal the technology, but I prefer to have it in Italy. That was great. You know? So in reality, it is the destiny of Europe is to become the destination of Chinese investment. Now, the continent is tired. Low demographics, high welfare, and people are now willing to work. This is the problem. You know, there is not this level of energy. But my demonstration is Chinese immigrants who come to Italy, they make a fortune. They get into Italian traditional businesses and they make a fortune. Why? Because they work better, harder, and longer. The problem, the problem. And they have this family structure that can support businesses. Okay? So, I think Europe is very open to this. We have realized this. There are no more barriers. Also because why versus US, we have a big strategic issue, which is the Pacific. It's a big strategic issue. Europe and China are like whiskey and soda. They go together. There are no major strategic stuff. So the question is, Europe is doomed to become your favorite destination for investment in manufacturing, for tourism. The question, and Chinese authorities know very well, Chinese investors know very well, or since they're very smart, they're just waiting for the right time to invest. Basically, they're waiting to see how much lower the euro is going to go before they start to invest. And this is the destiny of Europe, is to be substantially colonized by Chinese investors. And in my opinion, I think is a very positive thing. This inbreeding of Chinese energy, and it's going to be very good for the continent. It's like, because you bring in new blood, new energy. It's great. I really love it. Because we do need new energy. Okay? So I'm very favorable. I was favorable way back. I always worked in this direction. Now everything is open. People are coming from Europe. They are lining up at CSC and whatever, begging for Chinese investment. All you know, there's no de facto political resistance. And China has to move now. Because before, the relationship turned sour. Because I've seen the latest document by the EU on China. It's not nice. Now the EU is opening its case on Huawei and ZTE, on electronic telecommunication supplier. Before they start being protectionist, you have to go in and start penetrating the civil society, those countries, the industrial society, investing and settle in. Because that also is good investment and there's a hell of a lot of good soft power. So this has always been my suggestion. Invest now when people need it, okay? Because it is little money for China, but you buy so much goodwill.
再请教一个非常简单的问题啊，再请教一个非常简单的问题，欧洲对于我们中国人而言，像一场你们的歌剧一样，非常的复杂，非常的你们的这个争斗啊，在我们看来很有戏剧性，我们搞不懂中间的过程。我只想问一个问题，最后的结果是什么？欧债危机最后结果是什么？你认为意大利还会跟德国人在一起搞一个欧元吗？还是说部分的国家就好了？你认为最后的结局是什么？很简单。
Yeah. Yes, it's going to be like this. It's going to be one more year of hell, absolute hell. We're going to be on the brink of disaster another 5 or 6 times, okay? Because in order to fix the euro, we have to be on the brink of the cliff, of falling off. Only under the pressure politicians can agree on doing something. The breakup of the euro is going to be like 10 nuclear bombs thrown into Europe. Okay, European economy is going to be totally destroyed. But think about all the contracts are going to have to be written. Everything is in Europe. And all the transactions are in Europe. Try to imagine what the impact that could have on Europe. And Europe is the largest economy than the US altogether. Okay? Now, Germany will be destroyed. German GDP will go down by 12%. How is Angela Merkel going to be re-elected with a 12% fall in GDP? So, understand? So, nobody gains from a euro disruption. So they will quarrel, and we have to be patient, because they will quarrel for another year. And then, when we are at the brink of the disaster, they will make an agreement at 4:30 in the morning, like they did yesterday, you know? This is what's going to happen. Because the euro is half done. The other half is not done. Okay? We haven't fixed. The problem is, the big problem with Europe, summarized, is the European Central Bank cannot print money. So when my friend Aaron in the US knows quantitative easing, yeah, they make a huge deficit. Then the Fed print the money and they keep the interest low at 0%. But we cannot! Because the Germans don't want to, okay? And so we are stuck with the interest rate of 8%. This is the problem. But eventually, this thing is going to go down, it's going to be painful, but it's going to be solved, and it's a process. Helmut Kohl, this is the last thing, the great statements from Germany, once said to Romano Prodi, who was then the president of Europe. Romano Prodi was complaining and says, no, we are applying the euro, but we don't have the institution, we don't have an independent central bank, we don't have the control mechanism. This is half done. And Helmut Kohl said, Romano, I cannot go any further because I already had to convince the Germans to give away the Deutschmark. They really love their Deutschmark. They really, it's a big thing for them. I can't go any further. But we are the last generation that has seen the war. And that continent has been torn by wars for centuries and centuries that you cannot imagine. Every 30 years we had a disruptive war, okay? If we don't do something now, they cannot allow us to go back. We're going to go back again into wars. This is what Helmut Kohl told Romano Prodi in 1999. Well, I tell you something more. Greece. Greece is 2% of European GDP. And what do? They say, okay, Greece, you can go out. You can get out of the euro. But do they understand geopolitically what it means? I mean, Greece is stuck to the Balkans. The Balkans is the most troublesome area. They have always been. And now you know why the Balkans are peaceful. I know the Balkans very well. I was head of the Balkan Reconstruction Task Force for the European Investment Bank. Because they hope to become part of the European Union. There is this long-term hope. Slovenia is in. Croatia is getting in next year. Serbia hopes to get in. Albania hopes to get in. There is this hope that keeps peace. And now all of a sudden, what do? You throw out Greece. There's only 2% of your GDP. And what do you have? You have a tremendous crisis. You know, and this is the platform from from Middle East, from the Muslim world, from North Africa. It's going to become an enormous area without law and order. The exit of Greece from the euro means that Greece has no money to pay teachers, to pay policemen, to pay nobody. It's going to become like a giant Somalia, a country with no government, at the doorstep of Europe. This is why short-sighted they are. You understand? So, this is why the euro has no return. There's no system written in the euro that allows to dismantle the euro. That's why they're so troubled. They can only go forward because they burn the bridge. We will bicker, we will beat each other, but we will make it. It will take a long time of bickering, but as long as we beat Germany 2-1 in the semi-final, let's go on.
非常感谢啊，这个 Alberto Boicelli， 我觉得他，你们大家可能不知道，这个肯定是有歌剧的训练背景，意大利歌剧的嗓音，这是星期天教会牧师的激情，给我们讲解了欧洲的情况，非常感谢，非常感谢啊。像时间关系啊，我们这个只能有一点点时间，3个问题，好不好？听众我们拢在一块儿，3个问题尽量简短，尽量的目标明确啊。